That was the entirety of Buckingham Palace's official public response following one of the most closely watched royal family gatherings in recent years. A private family occasion, no photographs will be released. Those 8 words were all the palace offered after reports that King Charles had met Prince Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet at Highgrove House on July 11, 2026. There was no official photograph, no joint appearance, no extended explanation, and no indication of what the meeting might mean for future family relations. The brief statement immediately became a story in itself. For some observers, it reflected the palace's desire to keep a deeply personal family moment private. Others argued that the decision not to release a photograph was just as significant as confirming the meeting in the first place. Months before the visit, royal biographer Tom Bower presented a very different perspective in his 2026 book Betrayal. Bower argued that the Sussexes were facing increasing financial pressure, writing that they required roughly $3 million annually to maintain their lifestyle, while revenue from ventures such as Netflix, Spotify, and other commercial projects was becoming less dependable. Those are Bower's published claims, and they have been widely debated since the book's release. Following the Highgrove meeting, some commentators connected those arguments to the palace's communications strategy. Their interpretation was straightforward. The family gathering reportedly took place, but the palace chose not to release any official images. According to that view, the absence of a photograph carried its own message. Whether intentional or not, the decision ensured that the meeting remained private while preventing the creation of a new official royal image that could quickly circulate across global media. Supporters of that interpretation point to reporting published shortly before the visit. A Radar Online source claimed Meghan hoped the UK trip might help restore some of the prestige associated with the royal family and generate renewed public interest in the Sussex brand. That source suggested the value of the visit extended beyond family relationships and into public perception. Of course, that remains one interpretation among many. For King Charles, the occasion may simply have been what Buckingham Palace described, a private family gathering and an opportunity to spend time with his grandchildren after several years apart. Those two explanations are not necessarily incompatible. A family reunion can be genuine, while also attracting enormous public and commercial attention. What remains undisputed is that the palace confirmed the meeting, but declined to provide the one thing many expected: an official photograph. That choice has become one of the most discussed aspects of the entire visit. Following news of the Highgrove meeting, headlines quickly focused on reconciliation. Many reports described it as the first confirmed meeting between King Charles and his grandchildren in several years. Commentators suggested it could represent a step toward repairing relations between the Sussexes and the royal family. Others urged a more cautious interpretation. Journalist Rob Shooter reported comments from a palace source who rejected the idea that the meeting represented a broader reconciliation. According to that source, the occasion should not be viewed as a political or institutional breakthrough, but simply as a grandfather spending time with his grandchildren. If that account is accurate, the meeting was personal rather than symbolic. That distinction matters because Buckingham Palace made no announcement about future meetings, ongoing reconciliation, or changes in the relationship between Prince Harry and the wider institution of the monarchy. Instead, the official message remained exactly the same 8 words. As a result, 2 competing narratives emerged. One side viewed the meeting as evidence that family ties were slowly being repaired. The other saw it as a carefully managed private occasion that changed little beyond allowing King Charles to spend time with members of his family. For now, Buckingham Palace has offered no further clarification. And until additional official information emerges, those 8 words remain the complete public record of one of the royal family's most closely watched meetings in recent memory. One of the biggest questions raised after the Highgrove meeting was whether it represented genuine reconciliation or simply a private family gathering. Much of the public conversation quickly focused on what didn't happen. There was no official photograph, no public embrace, no appearance on a palace balcony, no joint statement describing a new chapter in family relations. Instead, Buckingham Palace released only a brief announcement confirming that the gathering had taken place. Those 8 words became the entire official record. Some commentators interpreted the meeting as evidence that relations were improving. Others argued that compassion should not automatically be confused with institutional reconciliation. In that view, acknowledging a family meeting is very different from publicly signaling a restored relationship. The palace itself offered no indication that long-standing differences had been resolved. It simply confirmed that the meeting had occurred, and nothing more. That distinction has become central to how different observers interpret the event. An interesting detail emerged from reporting published shortly after the meeting. Journalist Rob Shooter cited comments from two separate sources, one described as being close to the palace and another said to be familiar with Meghan's perspective. Although coming from different sides of the story, both sources reportedly emphasized the significance of one missing element, an official photograph. According to the palace source, officials understood that a publicly released image could quickly become a powerful symbol of reconciliation and be interpreted as an endorsement of renewed royal unity. Meanwhile, the source connected to Meghan's circle reportedly suggested that, while the meeting itself had value, an official photograph would have carried far greater public significance. Whether or not those assessments are accurate, they point to the same broader observation. In today's media environment, photographs often communicate far more than written statements. A single official image can shape headlines, influence public perception, and become part of a larger narrative for years to come. By choosing not to release any photographs, Buckingham Palace maintained complete control over the public presentation of the meeting. That decision has fueled ongoing debate about whether the palace intended to draw a clear distinction between a private family reunion and any suggestion of official reconciliation. The palace has never publicly explained its reasoning. The timing of the Highgrove meeting added another layer to the discussion. Just one day earlier, Prince William appeared at the Royal Charity Polo Cup in Windsor, continuing a long-standing royal tradition. Catherine, Princess of Wales, also attended, marking one of her most visible public appearances following her recovery from cancer treatment. Members of the Wales family were seen together, smiling, interacting with spectators, and participating in a highly public royal engagement. Those images quickly appeared across newspapers, television broadcasts, and social media. Then, less than 24 hours later, attention shifted to Highgrove. Another royal family gathering had taken place, but this time there were no official photographs, no images for newspapers, no family portrait, no carefully staged moment for the cameras, only a brief written statement confirming that the meeting had occurred. The contrast was impossible to ignore. One royal event was documented visually and shared with the world, the other remained entirely private. Whether that difference reflected routine communications policy or a deliberate strategic choice has become a matter of continuing debate among royal commentators. What is clear is that the palace controlled both narratives in very different ways, one through carefully released photographs, and the other through the deliberate absence of them. And in royal communications, sometimes the images that are never released become just as significant as the ones the public is allowed to see.